I've got to hand it to you. Daredevil cooked up one hell of a finale. Oh, I dare you not to join us for AfterBuzz TV's Daredevil Season 2 finale after show. Let's get started.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Hey there, Daredevil fans. Welcome back to AfterBuzz TV for the Daredevil After Show for episode 13. A cold day in Hell's Kitchen. That's right. It's the finale. We made it, you guys. We did it. Oh, guys, I'm your host, Zach Wilson. Tweeted me at that Zach Wilson's route whenever the hell we're watching this, because it's the finale. Joining me tonight, Mark Donica.
It's weird looking at you from I'm usually right next to you, but I'm over here, and you look good, and it's a nice sweater. Howdy, I'm the internet's Mark B. Donica. You can find me on Twitter at Mark B. Donica. I'm going to be in the live chat now with no fear of spoilers whatsoever. And I might also go back and actually look at the comments. Also, Miss Jamie Elias is here.
Hi guys, I'm Jamie Elias. You can follow me on the Twitter and the Instagram at Jamie S. Elias. I'm excited to talk about this.
Do it.
Jesse Klein, unfortunately unable to join us for the finale. He sends his regrets and a video, which we'll get to in a minute. But yeah, he had obligations he could not get out of. Jess Klein won, if you want to find him on the Twitters. All right, guys, we did it. We made it through with only mild spoilers for us.
And not from the chat.
No, you guys were amazing.
Yes.
Yeah, seriously.
So I just want to get your guttural reactions after you watched the finale. How many times have you guys watched it now?
I just watched it once.
You told me to take an hour off of my shift tonight to watch it again, so twice.
Yeah, I watched it twice as well.
I watched it last week. Did I watch it Thursday? I think I watched it Thursday or Friday night.
I watched it literally the moment I got home.
You weren't kidding. You actually did it.
I went home and watched it till like 2 in the morning. It was fun. I was just like so tired. I was like, must watch Daredevil. But yeah, what did you guys think of the finale?
You first.
Me first? I liked it. I didn't like it as much as the season 1 finale, because I feel like it kind of put its hand in too many pies. It seemed like a setup for a lot, but if we are getting a third season of Daredevil and we are leading up to a season of The Defenders, then right now this is the perfect way to lead into it, because there's a lot of stuff just starting, and it's a lot of stuff that's supposed to carry us into that next story. So I'd say absolutely great. Everybody kind of got their last tip of the hat for this part of the storyline. Excited for where Frank's going, to be sure.
Yeah.
Looking like, one, to see the Punisher, but to possibly see a character like Microchip in the Marvel Universe is something that I never thought we would see. He looks like he has unfinished business. Matt, we'll talk about him. There's a lot of stuff at where our characters were left. I'm excited to hear and to talk to you about Miss Karen Page. So why don't you go ahead and
Jamie, real quick, sum up your thoughts.
I don't want to talk about Karen yet, because I just don't want to. We'll talk about her later.
I just want to know what you thought of the episode.
The episode, I know, but the episode was satisfying at some parts, but just like Mark said, I feel like it was just like a setup episode, kind of, like for a finale. It just wasn't very, like, I didn't leave the episode like I did in season 1, where I was like, what the heck, that was epic.
Well, also, we didn't have as huge of a build-up of the hand.
True.
Like, the hand were always a physical presence, but they weren't too much of a character presence like Wilson Fisk was. Yeah. So it's hard to live up to that, because that was it was 13 episodes built to that, whereas the hand was most of the season.
Yeah.
And it was not the focus the whole time.
True.
Yeah, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. Like, I felt like this episode, especially the second time through, I was like, this is just great comic book on television.
Definitely
fun.
Comic book on television.
Like, that's the thing, is like this season as a whole was so much just more of like, this is a comic book. This feels like a comic book, for better or worse. Like, that's the thing. There's some great benefits to that, and we'll talk about those. And I think there were some unfortunate drawbacks to it being very much a comic book on TV.
True.
Because we'll get into that. But I really loved the character stuff we got from Matt. We really got to see him like bearing his soul in this.
Like this episode was the most telling for him.
Yeah.
Like out of every, I feel like all the rest of the episodes have been about like Karen or about the Punisher or about Foggy. You know what I mean? And this one was really, truly, fully about Matt, and I thought that was really cool.
Yeah. Why don't we take a seat before we dive in? Let's see what did Jesse think of these episodes. Jesse, how did you feel? I know he's got opinions.
Sorry I couldn't be there. I've got a sketch show that I've got to do. I'm so sorry it didn't pan out. But just some quick fire thoughts about the season and like some predictions maybe at the end. Karen, I loved her arc. I love how she went from hero worship of Frank to a more realistic view on who the Punisher is. Matt, I'm kind of lukewarm on him. I like seeing like the Daredevil be like a legitimate superhero and a fighting force with his upgrades with the stick. Freaking awesome!
It was fucking.
Almost swore.
You can swear, Jesse.
But
It's
also,
okay.
like, I feel like
show.
they didn't do as much work on him as they could have as far as his character arc goes. Frank, I thought Frank was really cool. I like this version of the Punisher. I just don't know why he was there at the last episode. Like, why was he there? Why was he there fighting those ninjas? I might have missed something, but it didn't make sense.
Fight
but it was
them ninjas.
freaking cool to see him with his Punisher gear and that minigun. Foggy, I'm excited to see where they go with this. I think it's interesting that Matt's by himself. You know, he doesn't have Foggy, he doesn't have Karen, he doesn't have Elektra. I think it'll be cool to see what he does with Hogarth. Hello. With Elektra, love this version of Elektra, super cool. Still confused on the Black Sky stuff, but regardless, I really like this version of Elektra. It was cool to see her. Overall, I give this season an out of whoa. You know, I thought it was really good, but I felt like there were some storylines that were a little lazy and like didn't make sense, and that kind of hampered the season as a whole. I thought the performances were fantastic. I thought the action, as always, was amazing. I just felt like there were some loose ends that didn't make sense to me, and that might be me just missing stuff. I'll have to watch the season a second time. Other than that, thank you guys so much for watching the podcast. I love you all. Thank you so much for the feedback on Twitter and on YouTube and on iTunes. You guys are like the best freaking audience.
Tell him about his button.
I can't wait to see you guys for Luke Cage and Defenders. It's gonna be awesome. Have fun. It was nice punishing you.
So wait a minute.
Wait, what?
Guy doesn't show up for the finale and thinks he's automatically on the panel for Defenders and Luke Cage. Come on. He probably will.
We're gonna have to. Well, we don't even know who's gonna be on those panels yet.
Figuring that out.
But that's neither here nor there, because we still got to talk about Daredevil.
Oh yeah.
I also know for a fact that he's stone cold sober when he recorded that video.
Oh, okay.
For those of you asking, but yeah, so let's dive in. We got to talk Matt first.
All right. That's what
Matt Matt, Elektra, and Stick. Like this is like it's like Last Stand in this basically. They just set out like. Elektra, she doesn't know what to do at this point after she like finds out that she's Black Sky. At the top, like I really loved the subtleties in her performance in this episode, because what you saw is like at the open, when she's standing on the edge there. It was a very small moment, but like that was her like, what's the point? Like, should I just jump?
And it was also, I felt like it was also her conflicted, like I could do one of two things. Like I could be this really evil person that I'm like meant to be, or like this tool for evil that I'm meant to be, or I could end it now because I just don't see my life going any other way than that, and that would be for like the good of everybody, which is like eventually what she did. You know, she jumped in front of a sword for Matt. So I thought it was really cool, and I just didn't see her character. Honestly, I thought she was gonna do the opposite. I thought she was gonna cave and be like, all right, just take me, you know?
It seemed like she fell back to that time when she was a little girl. She was acting, I mean, I say childish, not in a negative connotation, but when she addressed Stick and like threw the little snack down at him, yeah, like pretty innocent and even naive seemingly at times, and more like, we're gonna do this because we had a choice, and we're gonna do it. We're gonna save the day. We're gonna run away. And we're gonna be in love, and we're gonna be so many great things. Without, like, she understood what they were doing, but was still blinded to what the world that Matt was trying to present for her.
Yeah, I mean, I wrote down childish fear as well in my notes. Like, and it was, again, that rooftop scene is like, she's just like, how would you feel? Like, she was raised her whole life to fight a war against the Black Sky. She was raised with the chast to fight Black Sky, and then she finds out she is the thing that she was trained to kill.
Self-loathing.
That's
what?
Yeah, I mean, that's like a dark turn for your life to take. It's tough. I can't even begin to imagine.
Didn't it also kind of give her understanding too? Like, I felt like she had a moment in like in like episode 12 where she was like, this makes sense. Like, I felt like I've never fit in anywhere, you know what I mean? And now I know what I am and it makes sense to me. Mm-hmm. But I think maybe this episode, like you were saying, is just her being like, oh, crap, this is what I am and I hate myself for it. Like, it's just really deep. There's like a lot there.
Yeah, and then as Matt puts it, like, they don't get to tell you who you are. Like, This is him, like, because the other big thing is what both characters are dealing with right now is they're being torn into, each of them is being torn in two directions between different identities, different possibilities of who they can be. For Elektra, it's, am I the Black Sky, the evil thing that, like, legend says once they have the Black Sky, they can do anything they want. Which for the Hand is like evil stuff. Like, they could mess up a lot of people, kill a lot of people. Or is she Elektra, who is going to fight for good and like fight on the side of the chast and do what she feels is right?
It's also a mirror of what Karen has been telling Frank all season. Yeah. And it's a different way of going about it, which is... Yeah, kind of shows how similar Matt and Karen are.
Yeah, well. And for
whether
Matt,
you like it or not.
And for Matt as well, he's being pulled into two versions of himself because there's like, and we've seen that throughout the entire show, both seasons. There's the lawyer, Matt Murdock, and there's Daredevil. And I really loved, like, towards the end of this episode when he and Elektra are having that real, like, heart-to-heart moment. And she, like, and he's just like, this is me. I'm Daredevil. Like, that's a very classic superhero thing to struggle with, is like, which one are you?
Yeah, for sure.
And it's something that's always fascinating about the difference. Like, there are certain characters that live it different ways. Like, Superman, just to use, like, the big example. Superman is presented, he is Superman, but he hides as Clark Kent. Superman is his real self. And in most, like Spider-Man, he is Peter Parker, but he puts on a mask to become Spider-Man. He's Peter Parker first. He dresses up as Spider-Man. Daredevil and Matt have sort of fluctuated. He's sort of figuring out, like, I think he feels like Daredevil is his true self.
Maybe around Elektra, too.
It's also kind of a phase, because depending on how the law treats his court cases, he feels, oh, well, being a lawyer helped save the day today, so I'm going to keep being a lawyer. Wait a minute, being a lawyer sucks. This is stupid. I'm gonna dress up like a devil and start beating people up. Like, that's kind of what we got from the first season, and the first real big lawyering set piece. The only big lawyering set piece that we got this season was the Frank Castle case, and everything went to hell, so he became the devil and jumped right into hell with it.
It's true. And I also think, like, I think that a part of it was just because Elektra was there. Because, like, they talked about it a little bit in that scene on the rooftop, and he was like, and then again when she was dead and in her grave, and Stick was like, well, like, was it worth it to love her? And he was like, you taught me not to love people, but, like, there were moments with her. And so I think she's the only person who, like, really understood who he was, and so he would rather have, which is crazy and very uncharacteristic of Matt, for him to be like, I'd rather have, like, what I have with you than anything in New York, because that kind of just, like, take seriously, like, the character we thought he was, and he kind of just, like, crumbled it. You know what I mean?
But then at the same time, anytime Karen got brought up, he went back to that person. Like, he was really flip-floppy this episode.
He was, but I think that's ultimately Matt Murdock. Like,
Sure.
that's him having an identity crisis, just like Elektra is like he's these two things do not. The lawyer who fights for the letter of the law and justice as the law says it should be. He that Matt loves Karen.
Mm-hmm.
Daredevil Matt loves Elektra and loves circumventing the law and taking justice into his own hands.
Mm-hmm.
Those two things cannot both exist in the same at the same time.
But it's cool that we did see that what he chose, because he did like ultimately choose. And I know it was very like in the moment on the rooftop, but he would have if Elektra, and I mean towards the end of the episode we know she's going to come back in some capacity, but like if she would have lived and they both would have made it off that rooftop, I really believe that like they would have gone to Morocco or wherever they were talking about.
But do you think he would have gotten like a couple months in and like Elektra starts being a little nuts and he starts to regret it and miss
for
Karen?
sure.
Months?
For sure. But listen,
Days.
if it went the opposite way and he picked Karen, I think it'd be the same thing.
Yeah.
Just like we're saying, like he's so back and forth. I don't see him. I don't know.
That's fair.
He needs to just like date himself for
Yeah,
a while.
he's
No,
asexual.
he needs some devil time. But I mean, earlier in the season, we had a moment when she's like, "Yes, I'm gonna be good with you." Slit throat. Say I'm good. No, she has no concept of that. And even now, where she's kind of starting to learn, I still think that within a couple of days, weeks, once they start to get comfortable wherever they're at, she's gonna fall right back into it.
So she has a murder addiction. Like Matt's the one who's gonna help her rehab her murder addiction.
But guys, she made the ultimate sacrifice. She like proved to me that she's innately good in this final episode. Like that proved to me that like I've been cheering for her kind of though, so I'm a little bit biased.
Well, you're also biased because you're anti-Karen.
Yeah, freaking pick Elektra. Anyway,
I mean, Elektra is very much chaotic good.
Yeah, she wants to be
Yeah.
good, but deep down, I don't know, that it proved to me that innately she is good, but maybe somewhere it fights with that.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm just gonna
there's very interesting stuff going on with her, but this split Matt ultimately for me is that, like, as a character point, great, and I love that stuff. But it's also sort of the season has split personality disorder as well, and that's where I thought that this, like, now that we finished season and this episode, it sort of had faults for me.
Sure.
And I've talked about it a little bit before. Just we had two distinct stories, both with Matt at the center. When that was Daredevil versus Punisher. And that was one story. And we had Daredevil and Elektra versus the Hand. And that was a totally separate story. And the two barely crossed over at all. They really didn't affect each other. And Castle coming in to save the day at the end of this, it's like, as much as like I loved that moment because it's like visually and just like, again, comic book like brought to life wise, it's awesome. Punisher on the rooftop
with the skull,
with his skull, sniping ninjas, awesome. But from a story standpoint, like, why was he there? I know how he got there, and like logistically, he was in his. So like to answer Jesse's question, he was in his garage. He turned on the police scanner, and he heard what was going down, and he went there.
Yeah.
So I get
Done.
I get the logistics of how he got there, but I don't know, like, that is not enough to bring these two stories together to make them one season, as opposed to two separate stories. Like, why were they happening simultaneously? They seem to, to me, they seem to interfere with each other more than anything. Like,
sure,
Karen and
her
like,
story arc was interesting. Sorry, keep going.
Karen showing up is like the best example for me, because when she like finds Elektra at Matt's apartment, like Elektra and Stick, and like dumps Matt because of that, is like, that was forced to me, because as much as like if she had found just Elektra in Matt's bed wearing Matt's shirt, yeah, that's like storm out. But like the fact that Stick is there alone says there's a lot more to whatever's happening here.
Maybe Matt's into weird kinky threesomes. We don't know.
But
and Karen
needs
doesn't know.
Karen needs to ask.
Yes, she does. Are you into kinky threesomes, Matt?
Yeah.
Whereas Foggy, are you in? Is Matt into kinky threesomes? But in terms of Frank, I don't think this was a cross section of storylines at all. This was post Frank making the decision about his role. His role not in anything, but he hears a story about cops getting killed and goes, nuh-uh, and heads into the city to see what's going on. We know that he uses the rooftops to take a sniper position, and he sees what's going down, waits for the moment to where all of the movement stops so that he doesn't accidentally hit somebody, and that's when he starts taking out the ninjas.
Look, for me, this season, the Punisher was my favorite part.
Fell. The chair totally fell. There we go. I'm better.
The Punisher was my favorite part. If he wasn't in this season, I mean, like, the thing, you're so right, though, is that, Zach, that there's too much going on. This season, there was too much going on for me, too.
Yeah, I think Sarah in the chat put it perfectly. There wasn't any synergy between the two plots.
Yep.
Totally agree. But, like, I was pumped to see Frank because the whole thing that I got from this season, I know this is ridiculous, is I want him to have a solo season. Because at first, I was like, there's no way they can build this much off of this one character. But is it John, what's his name? The guy that plays him?
John Bernthal.
John Bernthal, seriously killed that role so much that I want to see him. And they set it up with that micro thing. I want to see him in his own role. So seeing him coming in at the end, I was like, okay, this is freaking epic. Like, you're pissed and killing people, and then, like, Punisher shooting people. This is awesome.
But that's the thing is that we get to see Matt, in terms of that storyline, he accepts what Punisher is.
Yeah, he was like, I'm trying to kill them too. Like, at that point, I really think he was.
And then also that's sideways guilt of, now I don't have the guilt of killing people, but they won't hurt people anymore. Like, he'll come back to rational thought and be like, once it starts to get to the gray line of not zombie ninjas, he'll start to be like, okay, zombie ninjas were one thing, but criminals with families and as opposed to undead folk, that's a line that we was like, but you were cool. Yeah, I was in a state then, and I appreciate it, but you gotta bring it back down. Bring it back down.
Yeah, I mean, Punisher, like Frank in these episodes, or this episode rather, I thought he had a really interesting way to tie up his story, because it was very small, because we more or less finished his story in in episode 12.
He didn't have any dialogue except for "See you around, Red." That's it.
Yeah, he had one line. I mean, that was great. It was a perfect line. See you around, Red.
And then that was a little Western, but
I don't know.
You're from the city, for God's sake.
Yeah, but I can't do John Bernthal.
See you around, Red.
Yeah. All right, sure. He burned down his house.
He killed that part of himself. He can't let. Karen got to it, and that was Karen. Imagine if anybody else got to that part of him.
Yeah.
They could use it against him in any sort of way.
Yeah. I will say, though, he lived in a suburban neighborhood. I think there were a lot of other houses around him.
Yeah, and it was like a farm little house towards the end. Nice.
Like, Frank, you probably have, like, neighbors with similar family setups, and you just blew up a house.
Oh gosh. There were a couple things this episode, though. Do you guys feel like the number of ninjas on the roof dramatically dropped at some point? I'm like, there's like 150 ninjas.
It did seem to change.
And then I'm like, there's like 5 ninjas.
Well, no, I mean, that's the thing is, in the room where you're with them, they're talking to each other like, we're gonna run away. All we gotta do is get past these. And then the music starts to swell, and the simple theme that we've been hearing as the intro turns into this heroic swell of orchestra, and then it's like 10 dudes. Like,
yeah, but I felt like it was like a bunch of them, and then all of a sudden, like, they panned back, and it was like 6. I'm like, what the? How that? Okay.
When they were fighting, I think it was 10 to 12, and then there were the 4 dudes around Nobu. So yeah, I mean, it could have been a tactical retreat.
So funny. I don't know, you hinted on it a little bit in the beginning, but this was very comic. This episode was very comic booky, and for me, like, that didn't. I mean,
zombie ninjas.
I know, this is true, but that didn't do it for me. Like, a lot of the one-liners, I was kind of like, meh. You know what I mean? Like, what did just like there were like 4 or 5 of them where I was like, meh. It went from like Law and Order SVU to me to like borderline Thor. Seriously, like they were like there were a lot of parts in this episode where I was like, okay, I feel like I'm watching Spider-Man. Like, you know what I mean? Like, in a movie theater, this is like a
I don't think we had the proper transition to the mystical.
Yes.
You know?
Agreed.
Like, it just kind of happened, and we were all... Like, they did go to... Like, it was weird hearing Matt just say, you know, ninjas. Like, as an audience, sure, like, we're as a comic book audience, we're used to and ready for that sort of a thing. But I don't... Like, they didn't quite... I don't know. I think... It, again, reiterating what we'd said, this episode, this season was too jam-packed. If they had a Punisher season, if they had a Hand season, that would be one thing, but they were trying to kickstart several things in this. So, unfortunately, we didn't get enough time to really... Like, if we had gotten a Stick flashback episode where, like, just talking about the legend of the war and where the war came from and all of this historical stuff, one extra episode, half an episode, where he tells the story so the audience can choose what they believe instead of having to go through Matt who's like that.
I would have loved that. That sounds awesome. Yeah, I mean, Stick had his own like little interesting points in this. Like, he wasn't in it very much, but I loved in the graveyard scene when he's like Matt, you're the toughest son of a bitch I've ever known. And you'll notice that's the first time that he has ever called him Matt and not Maddie. He finally respects him as like a person.
He grew up.
And Stick is a badass because the part where he cut Nobu's head off was maybe my favorite scene from that entire episode.
That's probably my favorite line. It was my favorite line of the episode. Stay down, you son of a bitch.
It was so good.
That was a fist bump moment.
So good.
I just wrote, Nobu's alive. Stab!
Never. Nobu's alive.
Psych.
Never mind. It's psych.
I mean, I know that he got back up, but effectively, Matt throwing him off the roof was Matt thinking he killed him, right?
I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, Matt's intention was to kill him, I think.
Yeah. Although maybe he has different, like, whether that crossed his line or not, I guess is arguable because since he is undead.
He's thrown people off of buildings before.
Yeah.
Like, remember he threw the guy into the dumpster and Claire was like, what the hell? And he was like, he's alive.
Into the dumpster, though, like, he did it in a way where he was, like, at least planning on him being alive.
Much taller building.
Yeah.
It's like a high-rise apartment building where it's like a 2-floor warehouse.
But he didn't, like he threw Nobu.
That's a tongue twister. That one's actually pretty hard.
Thinking, like, this guy's gonna die. I'm killing this person.
Yeah, he wanted.
But he is, again, undead, so maybe hit the line for him is blurry.
If there was intent if Matt had intent to kill him, why didn't he just keep him on the roof so that Punisher could get a good shot?
Blared.
Fair.
I think he wanted him for himself, though, man. If somebody killed the love of my life, I'd be like, I will murder your family. You know what I mean? Like, I would, like, go after that person.
Well, he's so filled with rage.
Yeah, he's pissed.
I don't even hear anything over his own heartbeat.
My God, he was so mad.
Yeah, there was a lot of great moments. I want to go back to Punisher before we get too far away from it because we got to talk about Micro.
Do it.
That, like, he goes, like, the last thing he takes out of the house, like, at first, like, there's this moment where it's like, is he taking the photo to, like, cross each one of them off? Like
that would have been cool.
1 batch, 2 batch.
Hey.
I'ma kill all you fuckers.
See, Jesse, you can swear.
I mean, we already dropped one. I figured it's
Damn
Punisher.
it.
He's not doesn't exactly hold back on language. But Micro is a reference to Microchip, a Punisher character.
Lieberman.
Yeah, his name
Matt
is
Lieberman.
No, not Matt Lieberman.
Lieberman?
He's a villain of his own sort. But no, David Lieberman. Is the character, and this isn't actually even the first time that this character's popped up or been mentioned at the least in the MCU. Micro was mentioned as one of Daisy Johnson, or at the time Sky's, hacker buddies in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Chat just popped that up, and since they're delayed, probably as you were saying it, and they probably went, oh, it's crazy.
This guy's like hacker buddy.
That was season 1, first couple episodes.
I think it was season 2 that they dropped that mention. But this opens up an awesome final potential, like some kind of potential for like maybe we could cross over our Netflix and ABC series at least a little bit. The mentions are nice, and we got the little like on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. we had the news report with the little ticker, and it's like gang warfare erupts in Hell's Kitchen, and like that was cool.
I figured we get something similar in the Netflix show.
But I would love like more like a deeper appearance of some sort.
I mean, I want this to be the lead into us meeting Micro. Micro is Frank's. I mean, not exactly, but Frank's Foggy, where it's maybe not necessarily comic relief, but it's his supplier, so to speak, right?
The supply. So I mean,
Weapons Man.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how much about like what they're gonna do with him in this, but that makes sense. Like his like money man, like if he's a hacker, like
if those files have something on Micro that he can use to, all right, now we're gonna have this working relationship. See, I'm not gonna tell anybody that I'm alive.
Or maybe it's from Micro.
Maybe it's from him.
Something like that.
Maybe it's a mixtape.
Yeah, I could see him filling a similar role to Melvin Potter.
Yeah.
Sort of like where I loved Melvin in this episode.
Melvin was on fire.
He's the cutest. He gives him a little present. He's like, so cute. I love this.
He was so excited to give him that baton, and like, oh my god, the freaking baton! Like, they did this so slowly to pay this off. Like they're like, yeah, he's got like some wooden sticks, and now he's got some metal sticks that can connect, and that's nice. Like whatever. Now he has a stick that comes apart and has the string on it.
It was
so
cool.
good.
It
Now it's Daredevil.
Yeah,
like this is Daredevil.
He swings with it. He smacks people with it.
If only we had a full like double leg extension where never mind. It would be like a comic book look, but something that wouldn't fly at all in a
yeah.
No,
it was perfect.
And just Melvin in general. I don't know if I noticed it previously, but the Gladiator posters on the wall. Like there's a wall for like a Gladiator movie, and it's just like, please
just give us Gladiator.
But also the fact that he said this was supposed to be for protecting Daisy and me, or Brain. Sorry, I'm still on Daisy. But I thought that was going to be a tease for he shows up for the fight too.
Yeah,
it's like something bad, huh?
You mean how we like thought that?
Yeah, that's what I thought when we broke down the trailer. They had the shot of. Or what we saw was the shot of Elektra and Matt coming upon the ninjas on the roof, but his helmet was so flat, and the shot looked like he was so much bigger than Elektra that I thought it was Melvin. I thought it was Gladiator. I was like, that would have been cool.
We really latched onto that theory, and we were so wrong.
It's okay. He's the cutest. We want him to be here.
It's fine. But I am looking forward to hopefully getting Gladiator at some point in some form. And other than just picking up a saw blade, although that was fun too. I liked just real quick to touch on the kidnapping aspect, like because they take the hand takes all the people that Daredevil has saved.
Didn't you think at first that was Fisk trying to get information? At first I was like, because remember we ended 12 with Fisk saying, I want to know everything about...
When they came for Brett and like, was like...
like we need the files on the Daredevil. I thought it was Fisk, and I was like, oh shit, Fisk knows Matt is Daredevil.
I sort of assumed that Fisk was out of this season. Like, as much as I loved him and I loved him showing up, I sort of knew just from the structure of the show, like, he's gone.
Dude, I didn't have any idea because there was so much in this damn show that I was like,
you can throw anything at us. But there's like a large ninja at the end of the line. You're like, wait a minute, I think that's Wilson. It's Wilson Fisk. But it took the second viewing for me to see, because they showed the hand scene first, where they had the files, where Nobu's assistant had the files. Like, how many do you want us to get? All of them. Like, I was like, those are the files that they were talking about.
Yeah.
So it was weird that they put that scene before. For some reason, the first time I didn't put it together that they were the ones that roughed up Brett for those files. But
for sure.
Yeah. Turk.
Yeah, freaking Turk.
Yeah, Turk with.
R.I.P. Turk's right foot. Like, what?
They didn't get through.
Yeah. He's going to be healing for a while.
Matt showed up just in time for Turk to keep his foot. Turk, who keeps getting saved by Daredevil. Like, because, like, Turk's not a bad guy.
He's not a malicious guy.
What would his alignment be?
He's the foggy
Lawful
of...
evil?
Lawful evil, yeah. Yeah, lawful evil. Because he's like, he steals, he deals, like he...
He's a wheeling and dealing, straight talking son of a gun.
Yeah, but he's not out to like maliciously, like he's not out just for like evil.
No, he's just a man trying to make his way in the world.
Yeah, he's a hustler.
Yeah, exactly. But he's such a fun character to pop up.
Yeah.
Just low level, just bad. He's just a bad criminal.
But he also ended up saving the day.
Yeah.
Good for him.
The fact that he was
give me a medal.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll just sort of look past the breaking out of house arrest and disabling the collar. Maybe, hopefully.
Ooh, somebody in chat just made a seriously dark point. Turk was kind of selling women into sex slavery when we first met him.
That's a good point.
I totally forgot about that. I totally forgot about that. F you, Turk.
No,
we
kind
actually
of.
hate you.
He was.
That's
fully
what
was.
That is exactly what he was.
That's a great.
Okay.
You know what, Ryan?
Evil.
Ryan, you made a very valid point.
No,
We
Ron
retract our
Corleone. That's
statements.
Ron, yeah.
Corleone.
Oh, I'm sorry, Ron.
That's all right.
We completely retract our statements about Turk because you know
what? Every man or woman is worth saving.
Are they though?
Yeah.
Just kidding.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. I'm totally joking.
And to that note, fuck Karen.
I hate Karen.
Karen in these episodes. This episode.
Do you want to stay alive? What's your name? How they pick you up?
Who's that redhead?
I don't know. What if she's?
What is she doing as a member of the Hand?
Yeah, what the frick, dude? Why couldn't it be like a...
I know somebody who majored in Japanese in college, and it's really hard to apply that unless you get the right job. So maybe it was just like a work study program.
Oh my god,
and she was trying to stay
hilarious.
fluent. Maybe. And then she's like, I get a gun? Sweet. Who knows?
Hilarious.
It just felt like because she's so, for obvious reasons, like different from the rest of the Hand.
Yeah, she's a white redhead.
Yeah, I felt like there was more to her story and like why she's there.
For sure.
So I'm intrigued by that character, and obviously we're gonna get more of the Hand when the show continues.
Will she take over? Do you think?
No, maybe not take over, but like she'll be involved for sure.
Sorry, all of the chat is going, I'm still more interested in Turk than I am Karen.
I love the chat so much. I love you, chat.
I like Karen.
We haven't talked about her yet, and we've got about 13 minutes. So.
Yeah, so Karen, real quick, she's doing the journalism thing. She starts to write her article, which is like kind of cheesy. Let's be fair.
Biggest eye roll ever. Carrie Bradshaw could write a better article than you, Karen. Did you guys see? Sorry, I'm done.
That was a sick burn.
I'm sorry. I can't.
What
I don't
was
even
the
watch.
city?
I don't
was
even
the
watch
line?
Sex and the City.
It's like. This is New. Well, actually, I really love the line from the editor. This is New York. People think they've seen everything.
I mean,
Show them something they haven't. I'd read the hell out of that.
See, this is what I was expecting from that.
Love the editor.
This is what I wanted from that. It's for Karen, and I know it doesn't make any sense at all. So let me just preface with that.
Go on.
I wanted Karen to write her own story because I'm still freaking. That's the only thing that I'm left
they had the
with
files
interest in.
right there.
I'm only interested in that. Everything else about Karen, I'm over. I'm over it. I'm over you, Karen. I'm over your weak story plot. I feel like you did not bring anything to this season. I'm really sorry. But
How has she not written anything for the bulletin yet?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Have you been an employee for 2 months?
She shows up, gets again, and I reiterated this in the last
nice
episode
office.
too. She gets one of the top employees of the entire newspaper's office just because they were friends. Respect, Ben, but
I can only think that every other person was like, dude, I'm not taking Ben Urick's office. You kidding? I'm not doing that. Like, what
That's a good
okay,
point.
out of respect, I can see
out of either
that.
respect
Or
or like superstition.
He's gonna haunt. He haunts the office.
And you know what? Karen really had a lot of like character growth, and I really think I wish that like there was a mention of her killing what's that guy's name? It starts with a W. Wesley. I wish there was like a mention of that, but we did see it like in her character arc. We did, and she's not a bad character. I just felt like this season she was a little useless. I felt like she was a placeholder, and like she had this huge storyline that like took away from a lot of the time that we could have been learning about the Hand, or like, you know what I mean, getting like the flashbacks you were talking about.
Jamie,
no.
What is it to be a hero?
Oh my God!
I will
Look
say,
in the
though,
mirror.
I did get a little bit of a Marvel's vibe from the little bit of the story, which, I mean, if they're bringing that into it, if she becomes the human side of the entire superhero like viewport,
Yeah, but
I like her. I really do like her as a journalist, and I like her interplay with her editor, and like I think that there's something very interesting and cool coming from her working at the Bulletin.
True,
or maybe getting like a competing offer from the Bugle. But I think there's a lot there, and so there's more going on with other characters. Foggy and
it's lost on her.
Okay, whatever. Foggy and Hogarth.
What? You didn't watch Jessica Jones?
Whatever. Oh yeah.
So the person that she was meeting with was from Jessica Jones.
That makes sense.
If you haven't watched Jessica Jones, Jerry Hogarth, played by Trisha. That's a different actress.
Just go on.
Yep.
She seemed like a badass, whoever she was.
It's Trinity from The Matrix.
Yeah, that's why I started.
Trinity from The Matrix. The entire time I was like, where do I know her from? Oh, that's so cool. I love connecting dots. Thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah.
I am a pencil.
You're a pencil?
Carrie Ann Moss is the actress's name.
Yes, it is.
But that was a great, like, direct, like, Jessica Jones
straight
coming
up
over, like, and I love it's the banter, like, non-traditional cases. Oh, you mean like stuff with vigilantes? I prefer people with complexities. And
you have no idea.
In my head, I'm like, dude, the stuff about Kilgrave was everywhere.
And I will say, total accident that I'm wearing purple today. Total accident. But make sure you rate, comment, and subscribe right now.
You have to.
Leave a thumbs up. Go on
Anyway.
iTunes, leave us a review. Go back and watch the Jessica Jones after show.
And it's like,
have a good night.
You have, like, Foggy's like, you have no idea. Try me. But like, I do feel like Foggy would have noticed that stuff going on.
My ex-wife tried to kill me. Oh, watch the show. Sorry.
No spoilers. Anyway, so moving forward.
I heart Foggy. Sorry, I had to say it.
I heard Foggy. What?
They closed out their tab.
That was sad.
At
That was
Josie's.
actually sad.
Really closing a chapter. Like, they closed the chapter of this chapter of Daredevil.
Do you think that means he's gonna just be strictly Jessica Jones? Like, is he out of Daredevil? Do you think?
No, absolutely not.
No?
You can't do Daredevil without Foggy.
Yeah.
And you can't do Daredevil without Karen Page or Foggy. They're just so integral to Matt Murdock's story.
They keep Matt human.
Yeah,
as
exactly.
opposed to going full devil.
Got it.
Yeah.
And that can be a big
That's
thing too when they split up, and that's going to be what Matt has to do is get over that.
Get over it. Murdoch.
But any other points on this episode that you loved, or just like thoughts on like how this have brought the whole season together?
I mean, the whole Elektra dying, like, we knew that was gonna happen. We all thought that was gonna happen.
Well, we said one or the other.
Yeah.
And so I'm kind of happy
because they could have turned it like now we have Elektra in the reincarnation coffin.
Extra large.
I imagine they're gonna pump it full of the blood from those kids.
Sweet kid
and with that, I feel like we should do some predictions.
Why not? Let's hit them.
As long as we're here, and then we got some news and gossip that Netflix fed us right after the end. Talk about that in a second. So yeah, Elektra. So Elektra, I was trying to remember exactly what my point was.
That's all right.
But so, yeah, so I feel like they're going to pump that casket full of blood. Elektra's going to come back, and because the next time we see Daredevil will not be Daredevil season 3, it will be the Defenders. I feel like Elektra is going to be a big bad of Defenders.
Yeah, I feel like it's gonna be like a Pet Cemetery thing. Like they bring her back from life, and she's just not the same.
Ball.
I think
Pet
just not the same.
We don't know how long the entire sequence takes. It could take a couple years.
It could. I mean, you could save her until Daredevil season 3, but I feel like you have with the Hand, I feel like that's why they needed to get the Hand into this season and not just do Punisher, because Punisher was the perfect season 2 situation for Matt to have to deal with in terms of like becoming Daredevil and questioning like how he should be Daredevil. Like now that he is Daredevil, how does he go about saving people and protecting the city? What are his extremes? Whereas the Hand could have easily been a season 3 thing. But you needed it to get to what I think they have planned for Defenders, which is Elektra as, if not the villain, one of the main villains that this group has to come together, because she'll now be like mega Elektra with like the Hand all behind her, and so when you have a hero who is also a loved one with an army behind her, that's a reason to need 4 heroes to fight on your side.
We also don't know where Luke Cage is going to leave us.
Yes.
We don't know where Iron Fist is going to leave us.
Yep.
If there's going to be any more mystical crap that happens that goes down. If we're going to get some crazy Kunlun stuff.
I sort of see Daredevil season 2 following a very similar pattern to what they did with Iron Man. Where Iron Man set up the Netflix universe, like set the standard for it.
Daredevil.
Yes.
Okay, continue.
Whatever. Just set up the universe in general, and then the sequel. So season 2, Iron Man 2. There were a lot of pieces that were in there that didn't necessarily need to be in there for the story of that thing, but helped set up what they were going to do once they got to the bigger combined property. Avengers, Defenders, and so I think that's where Elektra's going to go, and much the way that like Avengers affected Iron Man 3 and changed that story because like it had to affect his character. I think that's very much what they're going to do. Is it's not a breakaway spin-off, it's another chapter in his story, in all of these characters' stories.
Cool.
Just like you said, like I really think this season was like a complete setup, kind of. I feel like maybe you didn't say that, but that's what I'm saying.
Well, this was as any middle chapter story, it leaves a lot of stuff unanswered, so you can feel much more fulfilled when they do answer in the 3rd chapter.
It didn't really do it for me. I'm gonna be real with you. Like the most I got out of the season, like I really enjoyed Daredevil. You guys know, like I do this panel because I really like this show a lot. The most the season did for me is get me excited for Punisher. Like I felt no conclusion towards the end of it. I didn't really like it was like kind of all over the place.
No confirmation of a Punisher series. In fact, the most recent statements have been from the studio that they are not developing it.
That's a mistake.
I have to think that Punisher will be involved in Defenders because they clearly at the end of the season set up more Punisher with the micro disc.
Yeah.
As for what's in the hole, because people are asking. I can't remember if I said this on or off the air. My prediction is that the Hand is digging to China.
Yeah.
Or to the other side of the globe. Maybe trying to find an access point to Kunlun.
Totally. That seems the likelihood, and then we get maybe a dragon. Who knows? Maybe
Fin
a dragon.
Foom! If Jesse's ridiculous call of like where he was just like being a dick, and it's like this isn't right. Like he just
classic Jesse being a dick.
No, but like he was just like dicking around. Like there's no way Fin Fang Foom is in the hole, and then it is. Like I will I will just hand him my microphone. Be like, Jesse, this is yours.
That'll be a week he doesn't show up again. Very, very logical reason why he's not here. I'm not trying to make fun of him.
Any last predictions, guys? What we're gonna see going forward with Daredevil, with Elektra?
I really want Karen's story. I really want Karen's backstory. So that I'm gonna predict that's like. I don't know where that's going to fit in the Defenders, but like maybe season 3 Daredevil. I think obviously Elektra is going to come back to life. I think that Matt might take a turd for a little while.
You might take a turd?
Like a turd.
Probably.
A turd. I think he's going to go.
We have a turd in the punch bowl.
You know what? Stop it.
Sorry.
But yeah, I hate you. Just you
Karen's
go.
a turd in the punch bowl.
Just go. No. I'm done.
I totally agree with you.
Done with my predictions.
Super done. I feel like I'm terrible.
So let's we gotta talk.
Okay, I won't give any predictions at all.
Mark,
that's all right.
Did you have predictions?
Nah, let's keep moving.
You sure?
You pretty much nailed it. I figure we're gonna get something mystical. Luke Cage is gonna be like super hard and down to earth, and then there's gonna be a mystical thing that the Defenders and Iron Fist are gonna have to deal with that near the end of the season, which will lead us into Defenders and/or Iron Fist, whichever comes first.
Yeah. We gotta talk some news and gossip
really quickly.
AfterBuzz TV.
Last thing we got, because if you didn't just let it play through on Netflix, as episode 13 ended, they played the teaser for Luke Cage. Oh, it was so cool. So cool. That logo with the music behind it, I was just like,
we go hard.
There's so much that we could talk about with Luke Cage, but we don't have a lot of time. No. So basically, the one news and gossip that we heard, Mark, you had heard something about the tone?
Oh, yeah. So people are likening the Cage of Luke Cage to The Wire. So if you've seen The Wire, you know what kind of heavy biz we're into for Luke Cage. Yeah. So that means there's also, with people saying that, there's a possibility of fringe characters from the Luke Cage universe, and maybe we're going to see a little bit more Jessica come in. But there's a possibility that it's, I mean, if they're modeling it after one of the greatest television series ever made, it's probably going to be okay.
Yeah, I would love to get an appearance by Jessica in some form. We know that Claire is there. Claire's character is going to be in Luke Cage. She's really our
that was
Coulson.
That was the thing.
For lack of a better comparison.
And some people in chat were saying Hogarth as well because she's Iron Fist attorney and
maybe it's possible, but like I know for a fact that Claire, like it's very much been announced. I heard that today that the Tribe Called Quest is going to be doing the music.
Oh, I'm so much. I mean, I was in before. I mean, clearly, but that's awesome. And they had to lose somebody this year too. That's all right.
It's gonna be a blast, and AfterBuzz TV will of course be covering it. So you can tune in to us when it drops on September 30th.
Oh,
whatever the panel looks like, it will be here.
Dude, we'll probably do another pajama party on Saturday just to get it started.
Yep.
Maybe.
We might expand the panel.
Dude, 5-6 people on the panel.
Not 6. That might be a little nuts. But we will be back, absolutely. Guys, I want to thank you so much for joining us all season long, or however long it took for us to get through Daredevil season 2. We got through it as fast as we possibly could. It's a busy time of year. But seriously, thank you guys for joining us. Thank you to Master Chief's BFF and Saturn9 Kalina for writing some iTunes reviews for us on iTunes. But if you guys want to keep leaving us those reviews, we still will appreciate it. It still helps the podcast be found by new people who are watching at their own pace, who want to keep finding it. It helps keep the podcast searchable, help the network keep searchable. There's so many other shows that you can help out by leaving a review for Daredevil if you like it. So, and we get to see it, of course, and that puts a smile on our face.
Happy.
And you can follow along with everything AfterBuzz TV Marvel on Twitter at ABTV Marvel. If you haven't already, go and hit the follow on there, because we tweet out all the shows that we do here, whether it's a Netflix series, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. We also cover all of the Marvel movie news over on our sister network, Popcorn Talk,
we do.
With Marvel movie news. Guys, until next Netflix show, season, whatever it is that we're doing, I am your host, Zach Wilson. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube at that Zach Wilson, THATZACHWILSON.
That's good.
And also here at AfterBuzz, check me out on Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. After Show on Tuesday nights here at 10 o'clock. Jesse Klein will also be over there. We talk some Secret Warriors. And you can also find me on Marvel Movie News as the voice of Doom. Mark Donica, take it away.
Oh, okay. I was going to point it out. All right, fine. I got pointed at.
Save the best for last.
That's fine. Fair point.
Stop it.
So we're going to talk about Jesse, right? I'm kidding.
We're talking about Jesse.
You can find me on Twitter at Mark Donica. I host all the wrestling stuff here, or some of the wrestling stuff here. And then on Popcorn Talk, I host Video Game Movie Anatomy, where we talk about video game movie news, as well as review movies that are based on video games. We're doing Ratchet & Clank in a couple weeks. And then every week on Popcorn Talk, if you're a fan of Star Wars, we have Jedi Alliance, which is our Star Wars podcast. We do it every week with me and Mr. John Roca. It's a good time. Make sure to stay tuned. We got more coming. Ms. Jamie Lai.
Drop the mic. I am Jamie Elias, guys. You can find me on the Twitter and the Instagram at Jamie, JAMIESELIAS. It's been so much fun. Thank you.
Yeah, guys, we have been the Daredevil After Show. And thanks for geeking out with us.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Sweet Christmas.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.